As students prepare to head back to school, families are spending big bucks on supplies and tuition, placing, of course, that increased financial burden on parents and students alike. So with us today to talk simple steps on how to maintain back to school costs is Doyle Williams, Executive Vice President of Country Financial. Doyle, thanks so much for being with us today.
Pleasure to be here, Tina.
Well, let's start with the parents and maybe some simple steps for them to kind of curb that overspending.
Well, with young children, the key is a budget. Go into that store with your budget already in mind. Know how much you're going to spend. You've probably got the list from the school. Here's the supplies I need. Bring the kids into it. Be transparent. Let them know how much you're going to spend. And as you go through the store and check off items, get them involved. Have them help check them off. Have them maybe tally things up alongside you so that they see the value of different items and how much you're spending. I think there's a couple of benefits. One, you're going to stick to your budget because you're managing to a budget. And number two, you're instilling some good money habits, some discipline into your children, which hopefully pays off in the long term.
Well, here in Tucson, Doyle, we have a lot of students that are going to be going back to the U of A. Do we have some tips for them as well?
Yeah, so going back to school, the first tip I have is they probably did a summer job. They were making some extra money. Don't blow it on your first week. Develop your own budget. You know you've got the semester ahead of you and probably a spring semester past that. So try to make that money last. The second item that I'd bring up is something they're probably not thinking about, and that is insurance. If they're taking a car back to school, make sure it's serviced before they go. Review their insurance coverage. Make sure that everything's in place. And then mom and dad, remind the kids about who's driving the car. It's not the party bus, et cetera. That does have some liability attached to it, so don't let that happen. And then on your property, to make sure that that's protected. Freshmen in a dorm room, typically the parents' homeowners policy will provide protection for that, for their belongings. But if they move into their own apartment, often they'll need a renter's policy, and that's easy to put together. Well, and then finally, for those students, protect their identity. Students are easy marks because they share everything. So just be aware of identity theft.
Well, those are some great tips. And of course, for those college students, something else that's heavy on their mind are those student loans. Is there anything they should be thinking about with that?
Yeah, first of all, let's make it the last choice. Pursue scholarships if they can find them, apply for what they can, use your savings, have that part-time job to kind of reduce the amount you have to borrow. But if you do have to borrow, understand you're not the first one. I think the last study I saw, 67% of students graduating with a four-year degree graduate with some level of student debt. So it's pretty common. But if you're gonna borrow, do so in a smart, intelligent way. And that means starting with the FAFSA application. Apply so that you're qualifying for student or federally subsidized student loans. And the benefit of that is the terms are going to be more favorable to the student. Typically, it's going to be a fixed interest rate and a more flexible guidelines, if you will, how long they have to pay, et cetera. And it's typically be a very competitive interest rate. If they don't qualify or if they need more, then I would go to the private market knowing there's a lot of good options. There are good options, but be a smart shopper. Understand what they're getting into, shop around, a lot of different interest rates out there. Often they're variable. What's the maximum? What's the terms, et cetera. Mom and dad, if you're going to co-sign, also go in with your eyes wide open. Understand if son or daughter cannot repay, you are legally obligated to step in. So don't take on more than you can.
Well, there's so much to think about this time of year with back to school and everything. Is there somewhere we can go online to get some more tips as well?
You sure can. Please view us at takesimplesteps.com.
That's perfect, Joel. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
The Morning Blend. We'll be right back.